JKD stands for Jeet Kune Do, which translated word for word means straight fist way, but Bruce Lee's actual meaning, his intent, was the way of the intercepting fist. JKD isn't a style, it's a concept. It uses techniques from all martial arts styles to develop a system specific to the individual. That said, there are some considerations that are specific to JKD. These grow out of Wing Chun and Lee Junfang Gung Fu, which loosely translated means Bruce Lee's way. At Columbia Martial Arts and Fitness, we have 3 levels to the JKD program. Now, Bruce Lee said that a belt is for holding up your pants. And in terms of combat, that is absolutely true. But training, learning, is a dynamic, progressive process. And we find that having rank and having different classes helps the students with that process. We have an advanced level for brown, red, and black sashes, people who are about to become instructors themselves. We have an intermediate level for yellow and green sashes. And we have JKD Phase 1 for beginners, white sashes. Now, Bruce Lee never came up with a formalized or perpetuated a formalized ranking system. So we've borrowed a system from Wing Chun and modified it using the sashes and some stripes to suit our purposes. This introduction is to help you, the beginner student, become familiarized with some of the things that you will experience during the Phase 1 classes. At the beginning of each class, there's a warm-up period. We'll do some stretching and a sort of group-led shadow boxing. I will not do the entire shadow boxing sequence, but I do want to go over some of the terms and techniques that you will see and experience during that shadow boxing sequence. Each class will begin with the instructor saying Junbei. Junbei means attention. It's not a formal, stiff military style of attention. It's just your attention. Arms at your side, eyes forward, making it clear you're ready to pay attention to the instructor. The instructor will then say Gin Lai. Gin Lai is a formal salute. Your left hand is open. It is the hand of peace and wisdom. Your right hand is closed. It is the fist of war. Your right hand will be placed on your right hip. Your left hand goes over top. Peace and wisdom covering war. You bring your hands to the center of your chest. You push them out in front of you. Bring them back. And then bow. There are many different formal openings. This is simply the one we've chosen to use. Gin Lai. Gin Lai. After Gin Lai, class is officially started. You've been formally bowed in. Your instructor is liable to have you do some stretching exercises, or heck, may even have you run some laps, something to get you warmed up. At some point, your instructor will say, Bai Zhang. Bai Zhang means fighting stance. Our structure, how we hold our bodies, are extremely important. You can have the best punch in the world, you can have the best ground submission in the world, but if your structure isn't good, you won't get to use that punch or that great submission. You'll be overpowered by your opponent. Our fighting stance and the way we move on our feet are some of the most important things that there are in the martial arts. When your instructor calls for Bai Zhang, take a casual step forward like you were walking. Turn your left foot just a little bit, maybe 20 degrees, and your right foot just a little bit, maybe 20 degrees. Keep this gap between your feet. so that your left foot is under your left shoulder or parallel to your left shoulder, and your right foot is parallel to your right shoulder. Don't step out wide. Just keep that nice casual gap. Keep your feet roughly pointing forward, just slightly angled. Set your weight back on your rear foot. Get on the balls of your feet, the big knuckles just behind the toes. Some people will get high up on that rear foot, that's fine, but I don't think you want to be on your toes. You really want to be on that knuckle. For me, you'll see that my rear heel in particular is just a little bit off the ground, just enough so I can set it down if I need to, but I stay up. Watch your feet carefully. A lot of people will accidentally cross like this. As you can see from this stripe, I'm basically walking a tightrope. I do not want to engage in a fight while walking a tightrope. I want to keep that gap. With my feet now in place, I want to turn my hips forward. I don't want to use a side stance like we might use in karate or kempo. I'm not saying those stances are wrong or bad. We're just not using them right now. So I want to turn forward and face my opponent, still keeping my feet at that slight angle. I have maybe a gradual 10 or 20 degree angle on my shoulders, but not that deep angle. Just a nice shallow angle. My hips pointing forward. My weight is back on my rear foot. I can pick my front foot up anytime I want. My hands go up around my eyes. My arms are relaxed in front of part of my body. I don't want to be out like this. That exposes my stomach area. I want to be able to cover it up if necessary. My left hand is a little forward of my right hand. This is called a left lead. My left foot is forward. My left hand is a little forward. We can debate all day about left lead versus right lead. Both have pros and cons. For right now, for the beginning level class, everyone use a left lead. In the intermediate level, the students are required to switch over to a right lead, ultimately to learn both sides as close to equally well as possible. But for right now, since we're just beginning, let's all start in a left lead. Even you lefties, you southpaws out there, let's start in a left lead. Hands up, arms relaxed, weight on the rear foot, our heels are up, front foot light. Bajong. So now we're in our left Bajong. We're going to look at two punches. For the purposes of JKD Phase 1, most of our punches, not all of them, you'll see a few others, but most of our punches follow a Western boxing style. It's just a simple, nice and powerful and safe punch. The first is the jab. Anytime we're going to use our lead in a straight punch, we call it a jab. Our rear, which crosses our body, is called a cross. The use of jab cross versus left or right solves some confusions when working with southpaws in an opposite lead. So we're in our left Bajong, and you'll hear jab. Punch out straight with the left hand. My head is tilted down. My shoulder has come up so that it's literally touching my chin. My right hand is in close to my face to protect it. I'm punching right in front of my left eye. I don't want to punch across myself. This is a weak position. I don't want to punch high, and I don't want to punch low. These are also weak positions, though they're used at times. For now, I want to punch straight out in front of my left eye and bring it straight back. Jab, jab, jab. Cross is similar with the right hand. I punch straight out in front of my right eye. My left hand is still up, protecting my face. My shoulder is up, protecting my jaw. Again, I'm not punching across my line. You see a lot of guys do this. They punch out this way. We want to go straight out and straight back. I pivot a little bit on my rear foot in order to employ my hip and put weight into the punch. Cross, cross, cross. Notice that with both my jab and my cross, my palm is facing the earth. My hand is not turned up, it's turned parallel to the ground. Jab, jab, cross, cross, jab, jab, cross, cross. Again, notice I don't punch across the line. Not doing that. Going straight out. Jab, jab, cross, cross. Footwork, how we move on our feet, is an extremely important part of our structure. So next we'll examine the various footwork patterns that we will work at the beginning of each Phase 1 class. The first footwork pattern is called step slide. It's exactly like it sounds, stepping and sliding. We're in our Baizhang stance. We're going to step slide forward. We're going to move our left foot forward, and we're going to slide our rear foot up about the same distance that we moved our left foot. And again, we're going to set our weight back on the rear leg. Step slide forward. We can also step slide back. We move our rear foot and slide the front foot back the same distance. Again, returning the weight to the rear foot. Step slide back. We can also step slide left and right. And it's interesting to note that whether you're in left lead or right lead, if you're going to go left, you always move your left foot first. And if you're going to go right, you always move your right foot first. Step slide left, we move the left foot a little bit, we slide the right foot into place. Step slide right, we move the right foot a little bit, and we move the left foot in place. Again, being up on our balls of our feet, and the weight stays back. Step slide left, step slide right. The next footwork pattern looks very similar to step slide, but it's radically different. It's called push shuffle. In step slide, we stepped forward and pulled our weight up into position. But with push shuffle, we're going to launch ourselves forward, pushing with the rear leg, and immediately returning our weight to that rear foot. We can also push shuffle back. Again, returning the weight to the rear foot, keeping that front foot light. Push shuffle is used for punching. You push shuffle in while punching, and you push shuffle out to escape an attack. The next footwork pattern is called slide shuffle. It's used for kicking, and it looks totally different from the others. In slide shuffle, I'm going to pull my rear leg up towards my front foot and then shuffle my front foot out. I can also slide shuffle back. This is used for kicking, and again the weight is always returned to the rear foot. The front foot stays light. Slide shuffle forward, slide shuffle back. So now we have some basic movement. We can move forward and back, and left and right. I can step slide forward, step slide left, step slide right, step slide back, push shuffle forward, push shuffle back, slide shuffle forward, slide shuffle back. But now I have to worry about the guy who might be behind me, or a person who might be on my left, or a person who might be on my right. I have to change angles. So we're going to look at two things: quarter pivots and reverse stance. First, we're going to reverse stance. To reverse my stance, I want to return to a position that I'm comfortable with, that I'm familiar with, something at least similar to what I have right now. The quickest way for me to turn around and get back into this stance is to step across the line and then pull my rear foot. I'm now in the opposite lead, but I'm in a lead I'm familiar with weight on my rear foot, my rear heel up, my front foot light. Reverse stance. Step across the line, pull the foot. Weights return to the rear foot, heel is up, front foot is light. Reverse stance. Reverse stance. Now we're going to look at quarter pivots. They're called quarter pivots for a reason. It's 360 degrees around me. I only want to turn 90 degrees, a quarter of that full circle. If I wanted to go more than that, that's 180. We just explored that, the reverse stance. So with two quarter pivots, a left and right quarter pivot, and a reverse stance, I can turn all the way around myself and cover all angles. The interesting thing about pivots, it doesn't matter what lead you're in. You can be in a left lead or a right lead. Whichever direction you want to go, drag that foot. If I want a quarter pivot left, I'm going to drag my left foot. If I'm going to quarter pivot right, I'm going to drag my right foot. For a left quarter pivot, I'm going to drag my left foot. Left quarter pivot. My rear heel is still up. My weight is still back on that rear leg, so I can pick my front leg up easily. Left quarter pivot. Right quarter pivot, I drag my right foot. My weight is still back on the rear foot, so it's easy to pick my lead leg up. My heel is still off the ground. Right quarter pivot. There's one more footwork pattern that we'll go through, which is actually quite simple, but people interject a common error into it, and it's called change stance. Change stance is just what it sounds like. Changing my stance, changing it from a left lead to a right lead lead to a left lead. The common mistake that people make is they hop, but that actually turns it into two motions, or three, going down, up, and then switching. All I really want to do is just shuffle my feet. Again, the weight's on the rear foot, rear heel is up. Weight's on the rear foot, rear heel is up, front foot is light. Change stance. Don't worry, this tutorial is almost done. We just want to cover a few more strikes that are gone over during the shadowboxing period at the beginning of class. So from my Baijiang, left lead, I'm going to throw what is called Biu-ji. That's just straight out, my fingers straight out. It's like a jab, but with my fingers extended. Biu-ji translates as shooting fingers. So I want to shoot my fingers. I will also, or the instructor may also call for kwa-chui, which is a backhanded punch. All I want to do is just throw a backhanded punch. I don't want to prep it. I don't want to reach back. I just want to throw a backhanded punch. The instructor may call for Lao Sing, which is just a dropping punch. It's great for the bridge of the nose. Lao Sing. The instructor may call for Jin Chui, which means uppercut. I don't want to reach down into my pocket and punch up. I just want to punch up and forward. Lastly, two important things. Covers. You may hear lead cover and rear cover. When you cover, grab your head. Bring your elbow in front of your face. Keep your other hand up. Don't cover out. Don't reach your arm out. If they're striking you, they're just going to hit you with your own hand. Tuck in tight. Cover the entire face. Rear cover, same thing. Tuck in tight. Cover the entire face. I don't want to reach out. I'm going to tuck in. So that's it. Those are the techniques you'll see during the group-led shadowboxing session at the beginning of every Phase 1 class. I wish you good luck on your martial arts path.